this was probably one of the most impactful stories ever in my life. I was in Africa, and my father, just when they had a wire, you had to call through the wire. And I got to my father got to me, and he said, when you get home, I need you to go somewhere with me. I want to tell y'all a story. This story is about the only lie my father ever told me. That's it. He said, when you get home, I want you to go somewhere with me. So I'm like, my dad was the type of cat that, rough, in his 50s, rough Vietnam, black man, civil rights guy, tough, So for him to even ask for help or something, like he sounded, in his mind, he sounded like it was urgent, like it was not that he was in danger, but it was something deep in him. Like I knew my dad. And so I'm like, all right, so I got to finish up my mission. So I'm in my missions. I think I got like 7 days before I go home. And I'm in my missions, but the only thing in my mind is like how my dad's voice was, in that moment. Dad, like what's going on with my dad? Like I know this guy, I know that he's, in that generation of men, they didn't have nobody teaching them about vulnerability or how to feel their feelings and none of that. None of that was going on, you know what I mean, in that generation of men. It wasn't happening, so he was a tough guy. But that voice, that urgency in his voice said something. And I'm like, man, what was that? So I'm carrying on my mission. I'm doing my thing. I finally get home, and I think I don't know what day it was, but the next day we went to, we're driving, get in the car. And I said, okay, Pop, you good? Hell yeah, son, how was the mission? I'm talking to him, but I'm like, yo, at this time I'm a grown man. So I see that we going toward the VA hospital. And I'm like, first thought is like, yo, what's wrong with my dad? Like, is he sick? Is something wrong with him? Like, what's wrong with my pop? I'm like worried. And so we walk, and he ain't saying nothing. And I know him, like, it wasn't like a fear to ask this guy a question, but it was more like, some of y'all dads were just like this. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, your pop was just like the guy I'm talking about. Like, you loved him, he loved you, but that rough exterior them dudes who came through that generation had to have, And so we walking, so it was like, don't ask this guy no questions. Like, so I didn't. So we go up on the 4th floor, or I don't know, 4th, 5th, I don't know. And we go up, and we walk down the hallway to this door to the hospital room. And so I walk in first. I look up, y'all, and I see this guy laying on the bed. I'm like, and it was almost like, I know this is cinematic, but like, I'm just telling y'all, like, this is how it really was, because this is the wildest joint. Like, this is the only lie my dad ever told me, and I'm about to tell y'all what it is. I go from the foot up, so I'm looking at sheets, but I see the foot. Y'all know the image of a body, somebody laying down, and I get all the way to the head, and it was like a 70-year-old version of me. And I'm like, yo, who is... I look at this guy, and I'm like, yo, that's how I'm gonna look when I get 70. I literally, like, it was my face old. I'm sorry, old heads. I'm not saying old. Y'all know what I mean. Seasoned. So it's like, yo, that gotta be my grandpa. Like, in my head, I'm like, yo, that gotta be my grandfather. But my pop he never mentioned this guy. And like, I used to tell all my friends when I was in middle school, I was jealous. All y'all that had grandparents, y'all was lucky enough to have grandparents. Growing up, all the kids growing up, it's like, oh, I'm going to my grandma's house. I'm going to my, grandpa. And I was like, dang, all my grandparents dead. Like, I was saying that all my life from a youngin'. All the walk in the hospital room, y'all, after coming back from a mission trip, to discover that there's a guy laying on that bed on sleep, tubes everywhere, and that face is my face. I looked at my dad, and it was like no exchange words at that point. Like, it was, we exchanged no words. This is wild. And something spiritual happened in me. In that moment, I understood all my dad's problems. In that moment, I understood all my dad's problems. My dad was a cop, narcotics cop, and he became a homicide detective. Like I said, my pop was a hard dude. He was always loved you to death, would give you anything, cuss you out and give it to you though. Like he was your pop, I need whatever, man. Man, why you ain't got it? If you a man, you ain't no man. You supposed to have it. And then go upstairs and get $100 out my drawer. Like that's how he would roll. But growing up, he was always angry. You know, and some of them whippings I got remind me of how angry he used to be at times, you know. And I knew some of that stuff. It was like when I was young, I felt, because kids can feel, you know. And I could feel like some of these beatings I'm getting, they more than just whatever I did. I knew that. And I remember one day I was like 10 or 11, and I was like, yo, I went up to him in his room, and my dad was tough guy. But I said, yo, if you ever hit me again, I'm gonna kill you. And that boy never hit me again. I thought he was gonna kill me on my way back down the steps. And you know why he didn't beat me? Because I think he knew he had a problem. And he knew that he couldn't take it out on me. But that age group, that generation of guys, some of y'all listen to me right now. Some of y'all, y'all generation of guys, y'all ain't had nobody to help y'all, man. That's why y'all youngins out there, don't knock some of you. You hate your dad so bad, man. You know the stuff you suffering as a grown man. Your pop man had no direction. You had a coach. You had a teacher you like. You had something, man. That generation ain't had nothing, man. They was on survival mode 1000. You know, what you saying, man? I'm saying forgive, bro. 2 weeks later, my pop was dead. My mom called me, said, come get your dad, you know. And he was gone. It was moments in there that happened. It was like, I'm just stuck there, y'all, because my man was 59. I was 27, you know. That's really when I needed him bad, you know, because when you hit that space where you know you need wisdom on stuff. I needed him. That was a pivotal moment for me, man. I realized I was on my own. My daughter died 4 months before my father. I learned something about my father when he saw his father, and he kissed his father on the forehead. I don't know what he said to his father, but I know he leaned down and kissed him on his forehead. My grandfather left my father when my father was 3. He lived in a neighborhood with another woman in the same neighborhood, and they was eating good while my father and his sisters and his brother and his mother was trying to figure out how to make it. That's what he had as a father. My father died 2 weeks later. My mother always told my father, you should go try to fix it with your father. That thing hurt my dad so bad that he would rather his son feel like the man was dead. He was fatherless, but he was a great dad to me. He gave me everything he had. Was my dad rough and tough and did stuff that sometimes broke my heart? Yeah, but you know what I learned? He ain't had no leadership. He ain't had, my father was fatherless, but he never left me. He was all right. He was a righteous man. I loved him. It was so good to me that the stuff that I felt like he did wrong didn't matter. Did it cause me some trauma? Yeah, and I had to figure it out because I was an angry father too. My father's freedom came in being able to forgive his father that day. Chipmunks running around, y'all. My father got his freedom that day. He was always, all his life, searching for something. Revving his engine, blood pressure, like a lot of my black and Latino brothers listening to this, and a lot of my white brothers. Fathers, y'all out there, some of y'all can feel this story because you live this story. the only lie my father ever told me. He couldn't tell me that I had a grandfather because he didn't want to deal with that. And when he did, God took him. That was the last thing my father needed. My father said this to me when he was on his dying. I looked at him. I said, Pop, you're going to be all right. I said, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right now. He said, no, I don't have to be all right, son. He said, you're a man now. You can handle it. You can handle anything. He said, and that's what I live for. And I knew at that point my father wasn't coming out of the hospital, and he didn't. He died about a week before my birthday. My hero. Listen, y'all, I have a vision. I have a vision of a nation of fathers. Not divided by anything. United as fathers. I do a boot camp in Philadelphia every Sunday morning, 8 to 9:15. I want more of you fathers to be a part of it. I'm in Philadelphia. But I want some of you to go on my website, christianwinners.com, if you want a master-built men's gathering. It's a father of nations. It doesn't cost you nothing. This ain't about money. It's about a nation of fathers that can make impact. The problems in the world today, the only thing that can fix them is fathers. Everything you can think, any problem you can think of right now, the drug war, sexual trafficking, the messed up education, the chaos in politics on both sides, because this ain't political. We all see what we see in the world. Forget what the games they play on TV, whether it's CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, whatever. We all see the same things as fathers. And I don't care whether you're rich or poor, what color you are, what creed, what you believe, where you go on the weekend to worship. If you don't go anywhere at all, at the end of the day, we all know the hustle and the bustle of life, with or without money, just as fathers carrying burdens. And we need to join to make impact on our fatherless nation. This ain't about religion. This is about fatherhood. I think if you believe God ain't a God at all, fatherhood is the most godly thing you can be. Ooh. Fatherhood is the most godly thing you can be. A father. Some of you, many of you great fathers, listen to me right now. Some of you fathers out there, you're doing the best you can. Some of you fathers out there scared to jump in there, whatever your condition is. Some of you fathers ain't never been fathered like my dad. Some of you are like me, who had a great father, but you picked up some of his ways that have impacted your adulthood. You want to heal the world? You want to heal education? You want to heal our children? You want to tamp down all this nonsense and craziness? Fatherhood. In every arena. Fatherhood in pulpits and churches instead of just pastors. Fathers up there leading congregations. Imams that are fathers. Rabbis that are fathers. All the other faith, they're fathers. Fathers are sacrificial. Fathers never take anything. They live to give. Fathers live to give. Listen, y'all, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. What I'm doing here is I'm raising a nation of fathers. Master-built men. If you want to do this in your town, in your city, go to christianwinners.com. See if you want to start a branch of this where you are. It ain't about money. I just want to have a conversation with you. If you believe what I believe as far as fatherhood and it's necessary and you know where it's necessary, look, let's talk. Let's do it where you are. I'm doing it now. I'm doing a boot camp. You can jump on the Zoom and see what we do. But the answer to every problem in the world right now is fatherhood, because we have a fatherless nation. We have a fatherless government. There's no one who can speak to this. We need a nation of fathers, not one man. In the days of our civil rights heroes, in the days of the great empires and all that, everything was built on one man. Because that's about pride and ego. What about this thing ain't about one man? What if this thing is about fathers, nations, fathers breaking the back of violence? Because we're taking our fatherhood and sunning these young men out here that have no direction. They're not out there because they are horrible people, you know. These young white boys shooting up these schools ain't doing this because they horrible people. There's no fatherhood. There was something broken in them that somebody didn't pay attention to. Fathers pay attention, they see. Hey man, it's a movement. It's a movement. It's a loving, peaceful movement of fathers that gather and see problems in their cities and want to solve them together. That's the boat, man. A nation of fathers.